Schlossberg, Managing Director at BK Asset Management.
BK Asset Management's Kathy Lien.
Good morning, everyone. This is Kathy. If you can hear my voice, see my screen, let me know, say hello. It seems to be a very wonderful morning in the markets, and I want the opportunity to talk to all of you about it. So please say good morning, please say hello. Hello, Miguel, Cheryl, Park, Gavilan, Andrew, Ole, Ayator from Spain, and everyone that is on, bright and early. Good morning, Nico. Okay, so welcome everyone. Good evening, Alvin from Philippines. The markets are soaring this morning, and it's soaring for one reason and one reason alone, and that's what we're going to talk about. And the reason why the markets are soaring is because the U.S. and China has agreed to a monumental temporary trade deal. They have agreed to cut Chinese tariffs to 30% from 145%. And in turn, China has agreed to cut 10% tariffs down to 10%. Now, I have to ask you, did you expect such a positive announcement? Did you expect those tariffs to go all the way down from 145 to 30%? Say yes or no in the chat. Let me know, because I want to hear if any of you actually thought that this could happen. Sova says no. Park says no. Galavan says no, but it's great. Yes, absolutely. It is phenomenal. Tab says definitely not so soon. None of you. And I think that I, completely agree that myself included, and I'll be the first to admit, I absolutely did not expect such a significant de-escalation. I was talking about this on Friday. I said, maybe even it's half, 70, 80, 90%. That's still really, really bad. 70, 80, 90%, even, as Trump was saying on Friday, he'd like to see it around 80%. That's still very bad. That's almost double. But 30%, as my friend Albert here says, was really shocking. 30% is much closer to 10% than it is 100%. And this, I think, is unbelievable. And I think, this also, shows good faith by both countries, that they really, came to the discussion table willing to make a deal. Perhaps, and I think, it is clear, the U.S. made a lot of concessions, because certainly the U.S. didn't want 30%. I mean, they, with all of the big announcements, the big criticisms the Trump administration has had for China, and how they said they really wanted to punish China and the trade partners for, their agreements for, basically fentanyl and all stuff like that. They did not, they definitely acquiesced here in some ways. I mean, 30% is a phenomenal trade deal. And yes, as who said this? Let's see. I forgot. I'm sorry that I forgot who said this, but this is really, really good news. And this is Soyarov. Yes. Soyarov says he did not expect it, but it was great news. And the market really needed something like of this magnitude in order to turn things around, like Smart FX Tip says. And I think, this is something, because it was such a surprise for the markets, I firmly believe that it's going to have a lasting effect. Yes, it's not a trade deal, as AB says. It's not a trade deal. It's a trade truce. But 90 days is a really long time. As long as no one says anything, if they both stay silent for the next 90 days, and Trump and Xi and dissent say nothing else about China-US trade relations, the markets will sustain its gains. But if someone comes out and says something wrong or runs their mouth for one reason or the other, then we're in trouble. Now, Xi, I think, is speaking. I think it's tomorrow. I forgot if it's the 13th or the 15th. I'll have to let me look it up real quick. I think it's tomorrow that he's speaking, but let me confirm. He's speaking. Yes, he's speaking at the China CELAC conference tomorrow. And so that's going to be a very important announcement. I mean, not announcement, but that's going to be a very important speech that many people will be focusing on to see whether he applauds this agreement and applauds the progress that's being made in trade, or he expresses skepticism. If President Xi expresses skepticism at this speech tomorrow, then obviously the markets will pare back. But still, I mean, 30% loosens the noose on American businesses and Chinese businesses in a very, very big way. And so, as long as no one runs their mouth for no good reason, the moves in the market could be sustained for some time, because like I said, 90 days is a very long time. And in fact, I don't even know, I can't even say it. We're like maybe 120 days into the Trump's term. So 90 days is almost the full Trump's term. And so market memory is not that long. And if we get 60 days out and we're still in this trade truce period and everyone feels good and more deals are being made, then the markets may almost forget about the tariff war. And, we may hopefully, get some stability in the markets. Market memory is not that long. But if we are in a situation where, still, and we never know. I told you, I cannot predict Trump. I refuse to predict Trump. If, he runs his mouth for, no good reason and says those tariffs could come back and kind of walks back some of this, then that's obviously bad news. But no, if no one says anything and they say nothing else about the trade negotiations between now and, 90 days, and there's more trade agreements being announced between now and then, perhaps we can get a more sustainable recovery in stocks and a more sustainable recovery in the US dollar. And, that's really what we're talking about. So we got some questions here. What happens after 90 days? Still a lot could go wrong. A lot could go wrong right now between now and 90 days. All they have to do is say nothing. And hopefully, and then, just move forward with negotiations, make this 30% permanent, and the market memory will forget. Because, it's been a very, very abusive 100 days. And so, 90 days is a very long time from now. But it's a tall order for this administration to say nothing between now and then. And also a tall order for China, too. Because, maybe they are not as pleased. But, these numbers are pretty good. So I think they're going to be quite pleased with the agreement they've been able to negotiate. So I do think that that's going to be good for the markets. As you may know already, stocks are soaring. The US dollar is soaring. Let me show you my charts. We can see that in the charts right now. Hold on. Let me share with you my screen. Yes, Kevin, I am 100% there with you. But, maybe he wants to, they all perhaps want to coast on the recovery for some time. And so, yes, it's a high bar for Trump and even Xi to say nothing. But, I think that perhaps they may want to coast, like I said, on the recovery in the markets. So, yeah, all of you seem to agree with me. It's a big deal for both of them to remain quiet. But this is Dow futures. Dow futures are up, very, very nicely. And, in many ways you can see, let me put up the S&P futures. This is the S&P futures. And I think this is my percentage change. Let's click on this. Oops, that is not my percentage change. Let me delete this real quick. Let's grab the percent change here. So, from peak to bottom, stock market, the S&P dropped as much as 20%. And we had a really nice recovery. And now, oops, that's not what I want. And now the market is only down 5%, which, is quite remarkable. And, a huge recovery. Could we see this recovery last? I definitely think we could see more gains, but it's hard to imagine. I mean, record highs in stocks should be justified by record growth in an economy. And so it's hard to imagine that we're really going to get all the way up here, because there's still a lot more strain than gain in the economy. There's still a lot more downside risk than upside risk. So maybe, I definitely feel that we can get up, but a sustainable new high, new record in stocks, I think is a little bit more difficult to consider, because I firmly believe that record highs should be justified by, not record growth, but at least strong growth. The only difference would be if the Fed cuts interest rates anyway, right? Because if the Fed cuts interest rates anyway, then between the trade truce, more trade deals, and then also lower interest rates, because remember, in this period here, we had very high interest rates and stock markets could recover. But if we get Fed lowering interest rates, and we have this trade truce and the more trade deals, then maybe we could have a push towards new highs, as people believe that certain parts of the economy is going to be re-energized by the combination of lower interest rates than where we were before, like lower, maybe back at 5%. I don't know. In mortgage rates, for example, because, obviously we're not expecting overall rates to be, that low. But, the Federal Reserve, what is it? The Federal Reserve has a meeting on June 18th. And, interest rates are 4.25%, but, mortgage rates are 6%. So if those mortgage rates come down to 5% and interest rates come down to like 3-ish, maybe we can get more energy in the markets. But we'll have to see. But overall, though, right now, as long as no one says anything, if everyone shuts their mouth, including Xi and Trump, then we could have, a more sustainable rise in stocks, because 90 days is a very long time. And then the same for the US dollar. The US dollar has actually been punished with a lot more. The US dollar, you saw stocks were up here. The US dollar is still down here. So we still have a lot more room to run. And so US dollar could easily, dollar yen, take itself up to these highs here at 151. So US dollar, I think, is definitely, both were oversold. US dollar had a far shallower recovery than the stock market. So the US dollar itself could enjoy a more significant recovery, especially if certain other countries push against a trade deal. Like, this is dollar yen. The Japanese yen is the worst performing currency right now. And part of the reason is because Japan has said, the prime minister has said that they won't accept any trade deals that do not involve the elimination of auto tariffs. And so, obviously, Trump has been really big on the auto sector. And so, if Japan holds true to this, then the underperformance of the yen and the further underperformance of the yen is certainly justified. We could certainly see more. We could certainly see dollar yen easily, I think, up at this 151 handle. So the question that you're asking, Smart FX Tips, is it enough to strengthen the dollar in the long term, or is it a blip? This is, as long as everyone shuts their mouth, this is a much better, bigger de-escalation than I think, all of you, including myself, you told me earlier, all of you could have anticipated. And so, I mean, if you think about it, I read a lot of articles about how small business owners were, who can only afford importing from China, were really, strapped. And so if you think about it, if there's a 30% tariff, then maybe they raise their prices 10% or 15%, which is not really all that terrible. And then they swallow 15%. And then maybe, a company like Walmart can get the Chinese to swallow 10, 15%. And maybe the prices overall won't rise that much. So there is a lot of benefits to this if it's durable. And, and I think, first of all, this goes against, the reason to for these companies to build massive production facilities in the US, because if Trump can go back and forth on these trade numbers and it's only 3%, only 30%, then maybe it may not make sense to build a huge production facility in the US, because maybe there's still, maybe China is still cheaper by 60% or 70% than American made goods. I have no idea. I'm not a manufacturer. But my point is that this is clearly a negotiation ploy. And this is clearly just part of his desire, maybe not to bring those production facilities in the US, but to really bring stocks back to the levels they were and to pat himself on the back. We'll have to see. But as traders, in my opinion, the most important takeaway is one of two things. Number one, as long as everyone shuts their mouth, the rally in stocks and the recovery in the US dollar should last. Someone said, where do you find Trump's schedules? It is published on the White House website. I'll try to see if I can find a link and put it in the description later on. It's obviously not like a month ahead. They do publish his schedules. It does change. And some of the big events, like for China, for example, is something that everyone talks about, like the speech by Xi that we have coming out, later this week. Okay, the other thing is we have some really important U.S. data this week, and I think it's very important to talk about. We have U.S. Retail sales, and we have U.S. inflation data. So the real story here is how all of this, including the data, will impact the Federal Reserve's plans to cut interest rates. So when the Federal Reserve met last week, they left interest rates unchanged. Powell, they obviously expressed some concerns about the uncertainty with trade. Thank you, Boris. Boris has posted a link. That you can follow with when Trump is speaking. So last week, the Federal Reserve left interest rates unchanged, and Powell pushed back against calls for a preemptive rate cut, or calls for a signal for a preemptive rate cut. So basically, he gave no signals, no signs that they plan to cut interest rates in June. Retail sales and inflation is probably not going to move the needle all that much. Retail sales, while we did see retail sales, I think, are due on Thursday. So retail sales comes after inflation. While we did see average hourly earnings growth slow, I think all of you will see, understand, believe that there was probably a lot of buying before the tariffs. And so retail sales could be supported by the tariffs. Redbook retail sales was up already. So those numbers may not be so terrible. And same story with the inflation numbers that are due tomorrow. Yes, gas prices are lower. We know that gas prices are lower, but we have also seen many reports of the tariffs driving consumer good prices up. So the inflation numbers are probably not going to be terrible at all. So if you combine US data that is probably going to be okay with this trade truce, plus the promise of more trade deals, the Fed has absolutely no reason to cut interest rates in June, probably not until the latter part of the third quarter, maybe we'll have to see, because 90 days from now, I guess is July. So maybe, maybe early part of the third quarter. We'll have to see. We'll have to see how all of these agreements hold. But once again, 90 days is a very long time. And market memory is very, very short. And so for the time being, I don't think, even if the data shows weakness in the U.S. economy, I think that investors are going to find comfort from the trade truce with China and from the prospect of more trade deals. So my point is, going into this, if there was no trade deal or trade truce, those numbers would be far more important than if after this agreement, because this agreement helps to hopefully will definitely reduce a lot of uncertainty for at least the next 60 days, as long as no one says anything. For the next 60 days, going into 90 days, as long as no one runs their mouth in the wrong way, then it will not increase the odds of a Fed interest rate cut. But if we did not have this, then those numbers are much more important. Still, of course, inflation and retail sales numbers are always market moving, and we always pay attention to that. So that is why, for the time being, I am bullish US dollars, and I'm still bullish US dollars, because I think that there's going to be a lasting impact from today's announcement. And so you'll have to look for opportunities to buy dollars. As you can see, dollar yen is off its highs. And so we'll have to use, for example, the shorter moving averages to see where to buy. I mean, this looks pretty far down. I think it's combo of fibs, shorter term moving averages to find the support. 147.13 definitely looks like a good support level. We've got the 5 SMA and the 38.2% fib of this whole move. So that's, definitely you could get a pullback to that level and still get an overall uptrend in dollar yen. But for the most part, I am bullish dollars. I don't think this week's numbers are going to pose much of a threat to the dollar rally. And I think that if we get a pullback off of those numbers, that we're more or less going to see investors buy on those dips than to sell on the rallies. Unless, of course, Xi casts skepticism on the trade truce or Trump says something else. But if everyone just kind of pats themselves in the back saying, we're happy with the conversations that we're happy with the levels that the tariffs have been brought down to, and we're optimistic about the future, then I think we're good on the dollar rally. Now, euro, I'm neutral. The only major significant data we have from the euro, and it's important, is the German zoo survey. Now, most of the Eurozone data has been relatively good. The German industrial production numbers, the German factory order numbers, they've all been very, very good numbers. And yet, euro is one of the worst performing currencies this morning. I mean, euro, if you look at the chart, euro is lower, and it is, it's fallen to its weakest levels in more than a month. So we've seen quite a bit of euro weakness. By the way, I did a video on how I love moving averages, and moving averages are so important. They're the number one indicator that I follow. And you can see right here, part of the reason why. It is not a coincidence that the euro-dollar sell-off stopped right at the 50-day SMA. It's because these moving averages matter, and they really do. And so I think they're very, very important. I look at them all the time. Anyway, what am I getting at? So euro fell. We have the German zoo survey. Analysts will probably be a little bit less optimistic than the data shows, but I think, we had a big drop in the zoo survey. Let me get this full week guide here. The zoo survey is tomorrow. And we had a huge drop in the economic, look at this, we had a huge drop in the economic sentiment index in April. So a rebound is expected, especially after we got the good industrial production numbers from Germany from the Eurozone and Germany, and factory orders data. So there's a very good chance we have some good euro numbers. Now, moving averages matter. Euro has held this. As a trader, you obviously, at this point, you don't want to sell until we either break below on a closing basis, the 50 SMA, or we retrace closer to 112. The shorter term charts show us, let me get rid of this, that, 112 really is it. I mean, this is the breakdown point. So either you wait for a retrace up to, 111.50, which is maybe the 5 SMA here, or you wait for a break. I think that even though the zoo is important, we only have the zoo this week from the euro, so it's really going to be trading on the market's appetite for US dollars. So I still think it's going to be a sell. Now, sterling, I'm also neutral. We have a lot of UK data this week. We have UK jobs report tomorrow. We have UK GDP numbers, and we also have UK industrial production numbers. Now, the GDP and industrial production numbers are expected to be good. The jobs numbers, on the other hand, are not expected to be good. The service and manufacturing PMI reports are expected to be weaker. So let's take a look at sterling. So sterling, it's rolling over. But sterling, first of all, is down less than euro. So sterling is rolling over, and we're seeing a bit of a drop. Support is at 130.90. According to the PMIs, we definitely have a situation where we're looking at, we're basically looking at the more weakness in UK data than in Eurozone data. And so because there's a good chance that we could have more weakness in UK data than Eurozone data, I think that there's a very, very good chance that we could see weakness in sterling. Okay, so I'm neutral, bearish sterlings this week. They cut interest rates last week, the last meeting, and I think more is to follow. Now, in terms of the Australian dollar, so I'm neutral the Australian dollar. As you may or may not know, Australia, their biggest trade partner is China. And so obviously, they have a lot to gain from this trade deal with the US or trade agreement between the US and China. There's a lot less pain that's going to be felt in the Australian economy. And there'll be less pressure on Australia to decide who to side with. So, so I think that Australia, we are seeing, kind of outperformance of the Australian dollar against other currencies. This week, we have Australian jobs numbers as well as Australian wage data. And unfortunately, while we did have weaker manufacturing and service sector data, so it's a little bit hard to tell whether we're in a good jobs data or weak jobs data. My sense is that it's going to be a weaker number because the market is paving the way for a interest rate cut from the RBA. They're basically getting ready for the RBA to jumpstart their rate cut. So we're going to need some softer data to justify that. Someone asked, Tab asked, do I have a fundamentals course? Yes, here's the link to my fundamentals course if you are interested in learning more about fundamentals. Okay, so we have Australian wage data that's coming out tonight, and wages are expected to be stronger. That should help the Aussie. And then we have jobs data coming out later this week. Still, pretty good jobs report expected. And bearish the Canadian dollar. I think that, dollar CAD, we had talked about this on Monday. Dollar CAD has begun to form a bottom. And I think this dollar rally will see a more significant bottom against the Canadian dollar. We talked about how the talks between Carney and Trump did not go as well as we hoped. There was no positive trade headlines. And Canada reported, they reported better jobs report on Friday, but overall the data has been quite weak. So I think, we're at a bottom in dollar CAD. I think that we're going to see more significant gains in dollar CAD. I think this is a really, really, significant move for the Canadian dollar. And if we close like this is, if you watch my candlestick video, this is a Marabuzu candle, which is probably the most positive candle that you can get, the most bullish candlestick pattern. So we'll see. I mean, there's still the 200 SMA right above this, but I'm a buyer on dollar CAD dips for sure. I like dollar CAD to the upside. 140 is a big number. It could retrace off of it a little bit, but I think we'll see further gains in the Canadian dollar. Now, in terms of CAD data, we have absolutely no CAD data this week to worry about. New Zealand, we have New Zealand PMIs this week. I'm bearish Kiwi. Kiwi does not enjoy the same benefits as Aussie. And so you can even see in today's price action that it's not rallying as much as Aussie. And so, any pro US dollar sentiment, I think, is going to be much more reflected in Kiwi than in Aussie. So Kiwi, I'm a seller of Kiwi. I'm bearish Kiwi. This looks bearish to me. We're below the 200 SMA. It looks like it's almost clear sailing down over here. So I like Kiwi quite a bit to the downside. Then Swiss franc, not that much going on. Swiss franc, Swiss data has been quite weak. I think Swiss franc and the Japanese yen, I'm bearish. I think both currencies are going to head lower. The Japanese yen more so than the Swiss franc, simply because for a couple of reasons. Number one, the yen is more of a sensitive currency than the Swiss franc. It moves more. Number two, Japan, their data lately has been kind of mixed, and the data lately has been saying that they should not raise interest rates anytime soon. And number three, the prime minister is saying that he's not going to take any trade deal without a deal that eliminates the tariffs on auto exports, which the U.S. has been pretty, stringent on. So therefore, I am much more bearish yen than I am the Swiss franc. So these are my views. For those of you that are interested in a free course, I do have a free FOREX starter course in our community. Boris, if you don't mind posting the community link, this is our community. And right here under learning, you'll see that I have a FOREX starter course, and we also have a free day trading course. So if you want to take some free courses, start there as well. You can start there, basically. So this is my outlook. As I said, I think that the rally in the dollar is going to last. I think that, euro technically, is finding support. I think it's going to bounce before it drops further. So this is less attractive than like the Canadian dollar or the Japanese yen, which is already pulled back. Dollar Swiss is already pulled back as well. But I think that this break over here, this resistance level, is going to hold. So I don't think it's going to get below today's candle. I think it's going to hold this, maybe test it, hold it, and then rally. And then dollar yen, I also think it's going to rally towards at least 150. And then dollar CAD, I like a lot. 140 is a significant resistance level, but doesn't seem to care about it all that much right now. Pound dollar looks like it has plenty of room to fall. Aussie is pulling back the least compared to the other major currencies. It's many ways the most resilient. Still looks bearish, but this also creates opportunity to the downside. In like Euro Aussie looks really super bearish. I like Euro Aussie to the downside a lot. I think we could head quite a bit lower. So it definitely creates opportunity in the crosses. Euro Aussie being one, or even Aussie Swiss or Aussie CAD. But Euro Aussie, I think, looks quite good. And then QE, we talked about how we're bearish as well. Gold, we will talk about gold. Boris is going to share his thoughts on gold. But one of the most important things to know is that, gold is priced in US dollars. So when the dollar is up, gold is going to fall. And that is why gold is lower this morning. You cannot have, when we have a huge dollar rally, it's almost impossible nothing's impossible, but it'd be very difficult for gold to rally when the US dollar is rallying. So unless, of course, there's a huge geopolitical risk that's abroad that makes people pile into the safety of gold and the US dollar, but that's not the case right now. Textbook wise, if we have a strong dollar rally, gold is going to be trading lower. So if you believe the dollar will continue to rally, then gold should continue to pull back. All right, any questions? I think we answered quite a bit of the questions along the way. Boris is here. He's going to talk gold. He's going to roll into live trading, gold indices. So we've got a very, very exciting next hour for you. I do believe that gold is going to pull back further, not rally. I think this 3,150 level is important. But, Laura, while my opinions are important, tactics are far more important. Trading, you can have this long-term opinion that, the dollar will recover, but we're traders. We're much more focused on the setups and the opportunity. Just because you have a long-term view doesn't mean that there's going to have to be bumps along the road that you make money and lose money on. And so that's why Boris is here to share with us tactics on trading gold, because our opinion in our long-term view is far less important than our strategy and our tactics as traders. So thank you all for joining me this morning. I love our Monday sessions. Join our free trading community, talk to us there, and really, really be engaged.
Come trade with us.
Talking to you some more.
Okay, thank you, Kay. Thank you very much. Great opening of the show. Gold. Am I getting a feedback, Kay? Do I have? Let me see if I'm on the feedback, guys. Hang on a second.
No, you sound great. There's no feedback.
Okay, because I was getting feedback on my end of it, maybe.
No, you sound great.
So gold short term, my opinion, can easily go to 3,000. In other words, we can correct pretty seriously if this narrative story. What's this?
Thank you for the love, guys. Thank you, Tad. Thank you, Genevieve. Thank you, Mark. Thank you, Ader. Thank you for all the love that you're giving us.
I was gonna say, so if you're asking me short-term views on gold, 35 was a clear cap. The narrative story changed to a much more positive U.S. Growth story. That's negative gold. Yields stay up. I think we see 33. We see 3,000 versus 3,500. In other words, we see 3,000 first before we see 3,000. Okay. Now, having said all this, let's get to real business of scalping. We talked about tactics. I got some unbelievably interesting tactics for you today. Let me share my screen. I'm going to show you something. Hopefully, you guys will like it. This is an account I started 4 a.m. this morning at $50,000. I am up to 51.8, trading $100 trades. I want to see a show of hands who wants to see how I did this. What did I do with our simple dot strategy that took me to $1,800 profit? I cheated a little bit. I did one $600 winning trade, but if you take that out, it's still $1,300 to the good since 4 a.m. this morning. I want to see a show of hands. Give me like a wave or a show of hands or a thumbs up. I want to see 10 thumbs up before I start telling you about what the strategy is all about. Let's go, let's go, let's go. Come on. 1, 2, 3, 4. There we go. Ollie, Tony, Cheryl, Dennis, talk to me. And most importantly, I want to see the thumbs up from new people. Who's new in the room here? Say hello to me. Say hello to me if you're new. Sergio, you're new. Ali, you're an old customer. I'm gonna go over here. This is gonna be my new layout. How you guys like this layout? I think this layout is really, really good. It really keeps the screen completely in view. Nico, Laura, come on, all the old guys. Rao, I want to see all the new guys. Anybody who's new, say new. I want to see this. Oh, Kathy likes the layout now. Hey, well, it's because you bitched at me endlessly for getting it done. So Chris and I just worked on a new thing. As usual, you nag me into the right direction. Tab walk, nice to see you, Marianne. Wisdom manually, nice. All right, awesome. All these new people, love to have you. Do me a favor, hit this link over here to get the free access to our trading room, to all of our trading courses that are in the trading room, including the FOREX course and the day trading course. And say hello to me in the room as well if you want to. But make sure you get that link. Get all your friends to come in and join us. We're in less than a month. We're already at 4,100 members. Let's see if we can get up to 10,000 by the summer. So we have a really, really great community. It's your birthday, Laura. Hey, love it. Love it. My birthday is this month too. My birthday is coming up. Okay, Tab Walk, nice to have you. Nice to have everybody new. All right, let me get rid of the sorry, I'm looking at the wrong thing, of the extraneous stuff, and let's just look at the screens and look very, very clean. By the way, we're trading Tradeovate today just mainly because I opened up the Tradeovate account, but we'll trade wealth charts tomorrow, Wednesday, Thursday as always, and we're going to do the exact same thing on wealth charts. I'm going to take a wealth charts account tomorrow and do the exact same thing I've been doing here. So, you guys know what we love to do is scalp. Scalping has a huge amount of advantages when we trade. It's not for everybody, and for those of you who don't necessarily like this, it doesn't mean you can't trade with me. It doesn't mean you can't use my indicators. You can absolutely use my indicators for much, much bigger gains, much larger positions with smaller sizes all day long. And in fact, that course, the link that I gave you, has the whole trading course. And within that trading course is all the explanations for there's 5 different strategies embedded in the indicator. I'm actually going to, I was using the Elite Scalper because I really kind of like this. But let's go back to multi-strategy. It doesn't really matter. Yeah, I'll show this. What we're trading in the room is multi-strategy, right? Why is this? Okay, and I'm going to show you exactly how I adapted this to trading. So, anyways, point being is, if you don't necessarily want to scalp for $100 a trade, continuously, you can absolutely use this indicator, the BFF indicator, for much longer, bigger trades. But in the room, when we have an hour to trade, we want to do lots and lots of trades. I want to show you what I do best. This is my own personal strategy. And again, this all comes down to what you like to do best and how well do you do it. This is what I do. And I actually kind of just started doing this on Friday, and I realized that this is a very, very compelling approach that we can all do. So our traditional scalping or our traditional day trading idea was basically when we were looking at these momentum dots. When the blue is above the red, we're positive bid, positive trend. Green dots dominate. Those are positive trades. And we generally want to take the first dot in the sequence. Get long here, stop over here, target maybe half risk, target 1 times risk. So the risk is always going to be unique to how big the candle is, because we're going to put the stop underneath the candle, and sometimes we'll put a stop even underneath the second candle to give ourselves a little bit more breathing room. So every single trade has a little bit of a variance as far as risk goes, because it's contingent on the natural volatility of the price flow. So if there's a lot of volatility, you have to have much larger risk. If there's small volatility, you have a small risk. The point is that that's a much more natural way of trading than just simply setting a hard stop, hard target. However, a lot of you guys have been asking, what's a stop and target on these scalp trades? So if you want to have a hard stop, hard target, right, and you want to do what I did, which is, let me, if you guys don't, let me just prove it to you. Hang on a second. Let me pull this up, because I don't want you to think that I'm bullshitting. All right. Is everybody seeing it on my screen here right now? Let me see. Yes. So this is the Tradeovate. You see today $1,809 on the trades, and let's go through the trades. You see, I cheated a little bit. I took a couple of 500s, but it's all 100, 100, 100s, 100, 100, 100s. A couple of losses here, and I'll show you, integrating the losses and the wins. This is how it all came down, right? Not bullshitting you. This is live reportage from the account. Let me bring it back to my other screen so I could actually trade it. Okay. All right. Fine. Sorry. So here's what I want to do. Anytime we get a switch in dots, like right now we're getting a switch over here. In NASDAQ, we're going to go for just 5 NASDAQ points, which is a $100 trade on the large contract, right? With a maximum $20 stop. So it's going to be a 1-to-4 risk-reward ratio. On gold, we're going to go $1 target. We're going to make $1 target on gold with a $4 stop. Now, that's the maximum stop. And as you can see right over here, this candle is getting to be super, super big, right? It's It's 19 to 65. This is much, much larger than 20-point stop. So to really, I don't want to take a very, very large position in this. So what I'm going to do is if this candle closes right here, it goes from green to red, I'm just going to take the micro position with maybe like a 30 or 40-point stop on the target on the micro position, because it's too large a stop. Like if the candle is more than 20 points, I generally don't want to take that trade because it's too much volatility, or I'll take a trade at like 1/10 or 1/5 the size. But if it's small, I'll definitely take it. And more importantly, I don't necessarily have to use all $20. That's my maximum risk budget. If the stop is like only 10 points underneath the lows, then I'll just simply put a stop at 10 points. The point being is that it's not about the stops, it's about the targets. It's about hitting the $100 target over and over and over again. And I'll go through this right now. We have a trade, so let's just freaking do it. Sell market. So, oh, did I get it already done? Oh, that was super fast. I just actually went super fast, guys. Sorry, it was so fast that the trade got done before I could even blink. Then that's unusual. That's like back to when we had the high volatility days. But the point is, 5 points on a momentum move, because what we're trading continuous continuation, right? To be retarded about my English here. We're trading continuity with a very, very high probability of success. When we're wrong, we're going to eat it. And sometimes it's going to be actually, you're going to lose 4. But the way the mathematics have been working out, and this is just a rough measure, and I'll go through the numbers with you, is every single hour, there are approximately 10 switches from green to red, right? It's the first dot. We're not even looking for any counter trend, big movements. When we have a counter trend in this particular version of the scalping, we're taking the first red dot on an upside, first green dot on the downside. Let's say there's 10 switches from green to red in an hour, right? 9 of them are going to TP at $1 gold or $5 NASDAQ. And one of them is going to stop you out. So if you get anywhere near those ratios, you're talking about 900 to the good, 400 to the bad, $500 per hour scalping, right? Sometimes you get lucky. Sometimes you don't get hit a whole hour. You don't get stopped out the whole hour long. But if you like that approach, first of all, it's great because you can do it any hour of the day. Secondly, there's a lot of activity. The only drawback, I will tell you this, is if you're going to do this for an hour, you're going to scalp for an hour, you can't do anything else. This is absolutely 100% eyes on the ball, focus on the trade, press the trigger at the moment of the candle completion. Don't fuck up your execution. Don't go, play with your dog or take your attention. This is not a positional trade. You need the execution. You need the timing. If you want, that's why you just give it an hour and see if you can make $300-400. What's really, really good about it is it's very controlled. Your worst case scenario, you're out $400. Maybe, your worst case scenario, if you do double the trades. Remember, I was saying one instrument does 10 trades, so 2 instruments does 20 switches in an hour. So you can if you wanted to juggle, you could do that a little bit. And the point being is that it's not inconceivable to make $500-600 scalping like this in an hour, then just walk away. But you got to have your eyes on the ball. That's it. That's basically the story of how we do it. Super simple, super easy, very, very high probability if done right. And the key thing is done right. Right now, no fucking trade. The first trade was already there. We did this. This was the momentum trade. Now, I know if you're a directional trader, you want to be short here, maybe it goes to 2,600. Yes, wonderful. Go do it. If that's your style, you can absolutely use the indicator, and it suggested stops and targets, for that purpose. But for this purpose, which is just simple dots trading, we're going to trade momentum. Object in motion stays in motion unless counteracted by an opposite force. Basic Newtonian physics, basic Newtonian mathematics. I'll take it. I don't need to be complex. I don't need to get into quanta. I don't need to deal with quarks and other subatomic principles to kind of get my job done. Very much lunch pail, straight up trading. And what's really cool about it is, if done right and you happen to be in a favorable market environment where you have, today is a perfect environment for it. Lots of volatility, lots of news, lots of continuity one way or the other. So the ability to strip away that tiny amount of money every 5-10 minutes, really, really, really easy with the indicator. Anybody have any questions on this? Martin is asking me, is the gold scalper the same as the BFF scalper? Don't tell anybody, but yes. Well, it's not true. No. So gold scalper has the BFF. It's just a BFF simple dots version. It does not have any of the other components of BFF. So if you want to do day trading, positional trading, turn trading, BFF is still the best one. But gold scalper is the if you really just want the dots, you get the gold course. You want the gold course? Let me give you the link. And then you have the gold scalper forever. But don't ever say it to anybody, okay? I'm just kidding. No. So Martin, yes, the short answer, if you just want to do dots, that's a great way of doing it. Oh, look at this, May 25th. How many people in the room are Geminis? Because this would be really, really funny. My birthday is May 27th. In case you haven't at this point figured out, I am the ultimate Gemini. Everybody in my family, my mother is a Gemini. My son is a Gemini. Kay and I are born literally on the opposite sides of the spectrum. Like, we're literally 6 months apart, which is why we get along so well together, because we're absolutely the opposite of each other. I don't believe any of that shit, but personality-wise, I am a pure Gemini. And I'm actually curious. I bet you a lot of people in my room are Geminis, because, what are we best known for? Zero patience. Zero patience. So yeah, we're developing really nice long trends. That's wonderful. Guys who are, positionally trend-based have some really interesting trades over here. Corrective move in gold. As I said, I think gold is in a corrective mode. It doesn't mean it's not going to have lots of positive trend moves, but I do think if the news is positive for the next 3 months, and by the way, who knows if news is positive? We could have. I read over the weekend a throwaway line that Pakistan was on the verge of triggering their nuclear protocols, and everybody's like, oh yeah, whatever. I'm like, oh yeah, whatever. Apparently, India had to call Trump and just tell him to call Pakistan and tell him to cool it. Yeah, anything can happen in the next 3 months. If we know anything in this world, that just because they made a deal on tariff doesn't mean there isn't going to be just a complete shit show somewhere in the world in the next 3 months. They could have big gold impact. But assuming we're quiet, assuming everything is nice and non-obtrusive, yeah, then I think gold goes to 3,000. And nobody was a bigger bull of gold than me. Okay, so here's how I'm going to show you what we're going to do. So you see, we have a red to green dot, meaning that we have a counter flow signal, right? We're not even going to care that it's negative trend here, and this is the first green dot. If this green dot holds, we're going to take it for a move. This green dot, we definitely, this is gold. We definitely have, we have a red to green dot transfer. We're going to take this move. Now, this thing is a big ass candle. Also, remember, I don't want the candle itself to be more than $4 to $5, because my reasonable ratio is 1 to 4, right? And it's not that I don't think this could be a positive trade. It's just that if it's a negative trade, it's a very expensive trade for me. Just to give you an idea, if I were to do large contract, it's a 40 to, no, it's not, this is still within bounds of reason for me. It's 45, like basically my maximum risk here is between $4 and $5, right? Once my maximum risk exceeds $5 in gold, exceeds $20, and how do I define my maximum risk? By the low, entry to the low. If I'm entry to the low and that entry is larger than 5, I got to go to the small contract. It's just stupid to do anything worse, because I need the stop to be over here. I need the target to be over there in order for this trade to be legitimate, right? So this is blown through my risk parameters, as you can see. You can even see right over here, the risk is 6. Once the risk is 6, right, -6, I don't want to be a large buyer. So I want to be a small buyer. So I'm going to go to MGC, and this is just going to be really for shits and giggles. This is going to be a trade for 2 at 5.2 seconds left. I'm going to buy it, and let's go to small contract. Oh, I got done. Okay, never mind. It popped so fast. Let me show it to you on the charts, guys. I'll show this to you on the charts, because I told you I was going to go long, and this is what it was. See, I bought 44, I sold 45.3. It was literally $1 move, right? Now, could I have taken the large contract? Yes, I could have. It's not that I couldn't have made money. I could have made $100 on this trade. It's that I could have lost $600 of the trade. And I'm always far more concerned about the maximum loss, because the wins come automatically. It's just basically controlling the maximum loss to a reasonable level so that you can make them back. One of the cool things about trading it this way, let me go back to regular gold here. One of the cool things about trading it this way is that we don't go into that nasty little cycle, which you guys know I love that nasty little cycle, but it really, really, really smacks you hard when you're wrong, which is of getting large size. If I'm wrong, let me go larger size on the next one. Let me go larger size on the next one. After about two raises, you pretty much bust out of any poker trade you make, right? And the problem is, yes, a lot of times you can survive. You can raise it twice, resolve your trade, be good to go. But honestly, it's just I realized I think I want to beat the market with accuracy rather than size. I want to beat it with precision rather than with bullying of my weight. Because when you use your weight to bully somebody around, you inevitably over leverage and fall, right? When you have precision, you can tap dance around, and kind of bleed them out. Hey, you're welcome, Martin. Enjoy it, okay? And enjoy using it. Yes. Joreen, where are you from, my friend? Where's everybody from here? Give me some locales. The most exotic locale wins. Oh, guys, we got something really, really cool. I can't do it today, but I think starting tomorrow, we're gonna start having a really lot of fun. I'm gonna start giving away free Apex accounts, $50,000 accounts, 1 per session. I'm putting the Apex code right in here for everybody who wants to get a discount. And we have like the software to do it. It's really, really cool. It's like a spin the wheel software. Everybody can everybody puts in their name into the pot, and at the end of the show, every show, I'm just going to give away a free account to somebody. All right, look at this. $1.05 on the clock. Green dot, right? So this green dot holds. I'm going to get long this thing. I'm going to see if I can make 5 points on this thing. Northern California, okay. Ghana, Gerald Hagen, nice. Canada is very exotic, Mark. Very, very exotic. Although we're waiting for Alberta to join us. I think Alberta's going to become the 51st state that Trump was asking, right? How's it? Is that going to work like Alaska? We're going to just hop over Canada and give you guys passports. That would be, we already have protocols on that. Okay, sorry. Watching this, guys. 9 seconds left. This, nope, gold dot goes away, green dot goes away, no trade, no trade. I'm watching this, watching this, watching this. All right, long. Oh, what happened? Why is this not showing? Oh, because this got done, by the way, guys. But why is it not showing the trades? What am I in? Hold on a second. I'm in the account. Why is this not showing trades? Fuck is going on here? Hold on just 1 second. Oh, I'm sorry. I'm so sorry, guys. My fault. I'm looking. This is the micro. I was on the large contract. I'm on the large. Okay, so I should be on the large contract. I just switched. I switched to the micros earlier, and I totally forgot. So this was the large contract. That's why you guys didn't see the trade. I'm in at 85, out at 90, super fast. Now this was a shitty trade. Look at this. I got super lucky on this, right? But 5 points super lucky. You kind of make your own luck. It's relatively easy to make that 5 point, momentum move. And I did that. So, got lucky, fine. Definitely, this was definitely a lucky trade rather than a good trade. But when you have a very, very short target, you increase your chances of luck exponentially. That's the whole point. You don't need that much luck to make target, right? So this was the resolution on the trade here. But so right now we're just chilling. Now what we're looking for is if we get a red dot, remember green dot, red dot, switch to the red dot, we're going to short the red dot. George Simeon, president of Romania. Okay. Hey, Tony. Tony is in Qatar right now because he's serving on the base there. What the fuck is going on over there, man? I feel like they're in the middle of everything at this point. I don't know if you guys have heard the news. Qatar just gave President Trump like a $500 million, $300 million plane, which they're going to use for Air Force One, and then he's going to keep it. And everybody, of course, is up in arms that this is a foreign government interfering. But honestly, I don't have a strong opinion about this either way. But what I find fascinating is that Qatar is like in the middle of everything. They're negotiating with Israelis. They're dealing with us. They're talking to the Iranians. I'm just, fascinated at how they're trying to wheel and deal. They're talking to the Chinese. 300,000 people, and they just seem to have gotten their hands into every. They're trying to become the Switzerland of the Middle East at this point, which is really interesting. There you go. I'm all down for that. Yuri's in Ukraine. Let's hope we have some peace, Yuri. Wishing you the best. Nathan, what's the question? What TF is this? Sorry, what do you mean TF? Are you not understanding my trade? By the way, no trade here, right? Because we're looking for switches. So this is a second green. It's very tempting. You probably could take it. It's probably going to work. I've just sort of stopped myself because otherwise, 100%, 100% siren call. I wonder, by the way, if we get a siren and you take it and you take the signal, does the signal work? In this case, it absolutely does, right? So maybe we have a siren. We have a siren confirmation. If we get a signal at the time we get a siren, we should always take it because it's a perfect confirmation. Oh, time frame. It's a 2-minute time frame. Please don't abbreviate your questions for me because I'm not that smart to read your abbreviations. Because I thought Nathan was saying, "What the fuck is this?" And I'm like, "It's a scalping chart. What the fuck do you think it is?" But no, time frame. It's a 2-minute time frame. We like to use a 2-minute time frame, which is a very perfect heartbeat for scalping, right? So story overnight, we 2,500 on the close, 2,900 to the highs as markets really, there was, gappiness to I think 2,700, then moved to the 2,900 in just positive flow on all this news. But in a way, if you think about this, we're basically back to just normal economic activity, right? How much more juice is there at this point? A lot of people I know are starting to get short at the 2,900s, 2,100s because they think the rally is, clearly a huge part of the rally was done pre-tariffs, with the market rallying and everybody going, this is crazy, the market is crazy, we're going to be, in a depression, which always goes to show me, by the way, that if the market is doing something that's illogical, the truth is usually with the market, not with you, right? If something seems so obvious to you, it's probably wrong. Like, I definitely thought that I didn't think we were going to go into any kind of a recession, due to this tariff stuff. But the very fact the market sniffed out that there was a possibility of a deal, really interesting. And, you need to appreciate that. You need to appreciate that. Whenever I am, I think I'm smarter than the market, usually I'm wrong. I'm usually wrong. Tony says it's a very interesting location. I bet it is. I bet it is. It's kind of becoming like it's becoming like Casablanca, like, the movie with Humphrey Bogart. Everybody comes to Casablanca. Everybody comes to Qatar, right? Oh, okay. Nico's asking a great question. All right, so guys, today I'm going to send out to Rob everybody who does not have a BFF connection. Looking at gold, by the way, guys, here. Looking at gold. Gold has got a sell signal for me over here that I'm going to take. And I'm going to see whoever just first I'm going to send I'm going to assume that all you need, I'm assuming, Nico, I know for sure has it. You need to have a Wealth Charts account. Go right now, go buy some Wealth Charts account. Go hit some Apex links. It's a ridiculous discount. It's 80% discount right now. Just harvest some Wealth Charts account. You'll need them to be able to do the scalping that I'm going to do with you tomorrow. So I'm going to send Rob all the names that we have that are entitled to Wealth Charts that may not have been enabled. Oh shit! I'm talking. I need to sell. All right, fuck it. Guys. I'm selling. That's it. They got done. I sold the micros just because I was talking. There was a look at this. That was a perfect $100 sell, right? I'm sorry. I'm trying to deal with all of your queries and selling, but you get the idea. If I show you the micros, you'll see me doing this over here. Where's the micros? NGC. If I go to settings, trades, see 44 to we bought 2 over here. Super fast, right? It was a really fast trade. You get it? Okay, so everybody's starting to understand the setup. Let me just make sure I have the right. NASDAQ is the large one. Gold is the large one. Okay, good. I'm watching for NASDAQ. I'm watching for a red dotted NASDAQ as a switch of flow. If I get that, we'll try to trade that. But anyways, yeah, GFAS. If you have not bought this product, you will not have Wealth Charts X. So if you want Wealth Charts, and if you want me to buy you three free prop accounts. Let me see if I can get this right. Hang on a second, sorry. There we go. This is the link. I'm putting this link over here. This is what you're going to get. I'm putting this link over here right now while we're watching for. Oh, we have a NASDAQ. Okay, never mind. We have a NASDAQ signal here. Too big a signal for me to do the large contract. Still a red dot. I'm going to focus on this. You won't see it on the charts here, guys. Wait, the red dot went away. No trade, no trade, no trade. See, the red dot went away, so no trade. No trade now, no switch, okay? This is very, very important. You see how if you don't have the red dot, you don't take the trade. Now watching the next candle. If the next candle goes through the low, closes below the lows here, that's going to be a red dot candle, and we're going to trade that. So we're going to trade this if we can get it. We'll see. You know, not that we don't have huge selling, huge buying on the open here. It's all kind of consolidative. I'll get back to the wealth chart stuff in a minute. Let's just see how the trade's set up. But I got to tell you, the momentum dots are like the greatest thing I ever invented, because when you get the signal, it is such a good signal for at least short-term continuity gains. Man, I sprained my shoulder. That's why you see me grabbing my shoulder here all the time. Sorry about that. All right, I'm watching. Yeah, Trump is speaking. Kevin's saying thank you. Mark is giving me a little bit of love. Thank you, Mark. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Here's the link. I'm gonna explain to you how you can get 3 free prop accounts with me as well if you do this. All right, do I have any signals? Okay, nothing. Okay, we have Dick All. Let me just bear with me a second. I want to image from. Okay, so this is the trading bundle. This is the link that I gave you, 365. Everything in the house that I'm gonna, that we have, 6 months, BFF, everything that you want. Plus, I'm gonna give you 3 free accounts, so you can start with 3 $50,000 accounts for nothing with Apex. Try to get the wealth charts ones, because starting tomorrow, Wednesday, Thursday, we're going to trade it on wealth charts. And those of you guys who get all of this, I'm going to make sure the wealth charts enables you so you have the access to the BFF indicator on wealth charts. Okay? That's the deal that you can take advantage of right now. So it's hopefully going to be useful for you guys. Let me put it back on the charts, and we'll look for for more trades. See if we get any more signals. Right now, I'm kind of died out. Just want to see if there's anything on the news flow, on headlines. Trump lead shooter told us. By the way, there is a really, 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 really good article. Where did he? Oh fuck! I forgot his name. I was reading him. He's so good. Let me find it. Oh, it was. Where is he? I wish I had. Let me see if I do it another way. Hang on. I remembered how I got to it. So, and Hunt, and then he retweeted this. Wait. Where's Ben Hunt? Oh man, where is the? Oh, there it is, the long view. I love the long view. Okay, everybody should read this article. I'm gonna put the link. I'm gonna put the link in this. It's a really, really interesting article about. Oh, by the way, here's my friend Tom Basso. I had a really good interview with him. Really worthwhile. Please be sure to watch the interview I made with him. Some very, very good advice for people who have retirement funds and how to trade their retirement. Okay, I'm just trying to figure out if there's anything else here on news. Nothing much. Okay, what's going on over here? No signals over here so far, so just chilling over here. But yeah, read that article. It's a really, really good article. It's sort of very sobering, and I thought very down the middle analysis of what Trump is trying to do. What all his crazy shit is all about, and why it's kind of very interesting, and why it's much more incremental than most people think. It's not a revolution. It's actually a reset, and probably a much needed one. So it's really interesting. No, gold is not included in the bundle. No. Sorry, Ali. It's a separate product, but get both, and then you'll be really set. All right, I'm looking for a switch of flow, and so far we're not getting it. We're getting still green flow on the Nasdaq, red flow on gold, and I'm just biding my time right now, waiting for switches. Let's see if we get any continuity. Let you guys know we are back in business Tuesday nights, Wednesday nights. We're going to trade Asia. MT5, MT4 tools. Same kind of ideas as this. It's going to be really, really good on size. And then, of course, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, regular times, we're going to trade this. I don't know if I'm going to be able to trade the retail sales with you guys on a news basis. I'd love to. Let me see where the what day that is. It's a question of we have CPI. We have CPI tomorrow. Ugh. I really want to trade this with you guys. I feel like we should trade this. Might have to move the session tomorrow from 9:15 to 8:30. I'll adjust it if we have to. If I can get my wife to take my daughter to school, I'll trade this with you guys. I'll let you know. Well, we kind of died out, huh? Everybody's listening to Trump. No price action whatsoever, which is fine. I mean, the really great thing about the dots is when nothing is happening, nothing is signaled. When nothing is signaled, you don't do any stupid trades, right? We're really not seeing any kind of range expansion here. Nobody's holding the highs, nobody's holding the lows. So therefore, there's nothing to do. No, that's fine. You can absolutely do that, 100%. As far as I know, I'm going to double check, but I think Apex lets you do whatever you want. It's just that they don't want you to, they don't want you to do like exceed size. Well, they'll keep that controlled anyways because size is controlled. I'm trying to figure out what is it that they, what would they not want you to do there? I don't know if there's any kind of restriction on micro and they're very, very lax about that. The other cool thing, by the way, about this, in terms of like doing $100, $100, remember that Apex now has, like in the funded account, a rule where you can't do more than 20% per single day. So on a $50,000 account, that's $750. So you could literally just stop. You know, you do $700, you just stop for that day, start the next day. You're not, you know, you can really, because it's so granular, you can really connect your trades really well. Okay, so I actually realized something interesting. You know how I used to always tell you that the red diamond is the same thing as a red dot? It's actually not. The red diamond is a BFF trend signal, but it is not a red dot. In order for this to be a red dot, I need to break the lows of this candle. We haven't even come close. So don't, if it's a diamond, it doesn't mean it's a red dot. Don't take it as a trade. Gold is not included, guys. You can't have everything. I already give you my blood and my firstborn. You can't have my secondborn. Just get both. Get the bundle. That way you have BFF and ZIP and 6 months of trading and coaching with me and wealth charts and free prop accounts. So you're really all set. And then you get the gold, and then you have the gold algorithms, and you have the gold stuff for the rest of your life as a tool. You know, we used to trade, Marie, we used to trade Bitcoin, but it's not conducive. It's too wide to scalp, right? It's just too wide to scalp for me. I'm happy to trade it with you, like in Asia. We'll try it again, but it's 30 wide. It does not. It's not conducive to kind of scalp it. But I'm happy to try it in this way, because I think if there's any way to scalp Bitcoin, this could be the only way. You know, we're trading with dot changes. All right, gold showing me a switch from green to red. Possible $1.17 on the clock. We'll see if it holds. G5 says the best trades are always a diamond and a dot. That's probably true. It's $3.99 now. I don't know why the submit button is $2.99. It's probably like an error, but it's $3.99 now, Ollie. Email me, and I'll see what I can do. I'll see what I can do. If you guys want the gold course now, it's $3.99. But if you want the $2.99 old price, just email me and I'll see what I can do. I can see if I can get Kathy to green light you. Oh, so he's right. GFAS is right. Look at this. When you get the diamond and the red dot, that's the best trade. We don't have the red diamond and the red dot. So here, by the way, we do have a gold switch here, which I should be playing with. I'm actually going to take just the micro here because I got to go after this. So I just took the micro now. And micro got done. So that was a quick scalp on micro for positives. But here, diamond, but not a red dot, right? So not a trade. But maybe this one is going to be a red dot, and that would be a trade on NAS. I should have done the full contract on gold, but I gotta go, and I don't want to. As I said, the only rule that I have for you guys that is really valuable is the setup rules are very easy. The entry rules are super easy. The basic stops and targets are easy. The hard part is you got to commit the 1 hour, or you got to commit the next 30 minutes if you want to trade the signals. Don't If you have a meeting, if you got to go, if you got to walk your dogs, don't enter any trades that are not micros, because it's not worth it. You're gonna lose your focus. You're gonna just eat a $400 loss unnecessarily. So I totally forgot. GFAS, you're right. I forgot that this thing actually will put the diamond and the dot on it. So when there's no dot, there's no trade. That's great. I wrote the indicator smarter than I thought I was. Okay, that's good. Do you have a real-time trading feed, a trading view, and prop trading with a valid funded account? Did it provide real time? Yes, Black Cat, this is real time, my friend. This is all real time. This is the great thing about Apex is for the price of like an evaluation account, you get an absolutely clean, clear real-time feed from the Chicago Mercantile Exchange. This is all real-time feeds. Same thing with on wealth charts everywhere else. You're gonna get real-time feed just for opening the account. So really cool. I think I'm gonna leave you guys with the GFAS statement. This is probably the most intelligent line of the day today. Best trades are always a diamond and a dot, meaning that you have both the trend and the momentum confirming the moves. So just to walk you guys through, let's just take gold as a starter example, and then we can we can go through some other stuff here. So let's start at around 9 o'clock in the morning, right? Red to green, boom, winner, right? Then green to red, you short over here for $1, boom, winner, right? Then you're looking for a red to green, which switches over here. You're looking for $1 here, boom, 3 winners in a row. Then you're switching again from green to red, boom, 4 winners in a row. Then you have red to green, switching over here, boom, the trade that I just took that went really, really fast, 5 winners in a row. So 1 hour, 5 winners, $100 if you're focused, $500 on just one instrument. Do the same thing on NASDAQ, $1,000. I mean, I don't know any faster way with a really good way to control the risk and not increase size and not do anything else to just clip it out. I mean, we started out at what, 51.7. I'm at 52,000. I'm basically, as I said to you, I'm $1,000 away from getting funded on this account, which started at 4 a.m. this morning. It's been 6 hours. The stop losses are maximum stop loss. So these you can move them if they can be smaller. It's 20 points on NASDAQ and $4 on gold. 5-point target, $1 target. No, we don't pay any real-time feed to Real Trader. It's you don't have to pay $8 per month to have real-time charts and trading view. If you have a Tradeovate account, or if you have a Wealth Charts account, and you log in using your Wealth Charts login, and you integrate that with Trading View, and you integrate that with Wealth Charts, it's all free. Tomorrow, and with Wealth Charts, it's really, really easy. I'll show you tomorrow with Wealth Charts. Wealth Charts, you just literally log into your Wealth Charts with your Apex account, and you're going to get real-time fees for nothing. Yeah, just email me, right? Just email me, right? Email me at contact@bktraders.com or boris@bktraders.com. It really doesn't matter. And I will work something out with you. Okay, my friends. I hope you guys enjoyed it. This was a lot of fun. Look how easy it was to just crank out the P&Ls. There's actually a trade right here. I gotta go, so we're not gonna take this trade. But if we were short this trade, it would have been 39.7. We're looking for 38.7. Is that going to come in? If it comes into 38.7, we know this trade would be done, right? We're short here at 30. Let's say the close is 39.4. Fine. So I'm targeting 38.4. It'd be like right over here. If it comes in, comes in. Switch from red to green, right? And maybe not, And if it doesn't, it's the one trade out of 6, one trade out of 7 that stops you out, which is why you have a control risk. But by the way, it wouldn't be the full. What do you do? 39. It's about a $3. So it's a $3 risk, not a $4 risk. So the stop would be right here, right above this. So it's a $3 risk, right? So again, the maximum risk is 4, but generally it's between 2 and 3 on these stops. So even though we had like 5 or 6 consecutive winners here, if I get stopped out on this trade, I'm not in this trade, but if I get stopped out on this trade, it would be -3. So I'm net 3 positive for the hour, which is as good as you're going to get. Anyways, I leave you guys. Thank you so much for hanging out with me. Tomorrow we do the same thing all over again. Let's have a lot more fun. A lot of trades. I'll try to maybe what else I can't. Well, tomorrow is wealth charts, so it's going to be much easier. We're going to be able to switch accounts and switch sizes on the same chart, so it's going to be much easier for us to see how we can manage all these trades at size and account without having to switch around. But overall, it was all really good. Do I do my trade? I do my trade when I'm trading TradingView. I'm doing my trades on TradeAvate. When I'm trading wealth charts, which you'll see tomorrow, it's directly from the chart. Like everything is integrated. Tomorrow, Wednesday, Thursday, we're trading wealth charts. So everybody ahead of that, go out there, get that wealth charts package, and I'll make sure that you're enabled by tomorrow morning to be able to trade all that. Okay? So you have the BFFs and you have the zips. All right. Thank you guys. This is the package. Enjoy it. I'll see everybody out tomorrow. Everybody have a great night. Everybody take care. Bye-bye.